Hey everyone, welcome to another segment of Nerd Herders. My name is Rich,
I'm Nick.
and today we're talking about what we've been up to.
Oh,
What's been going on in our lives. So Nick, what have you been up to?
not much.
Okay.
No, I've got a couple things. Started Telltale's Batman episode 2, released last week. It's good.
Cool.
The game, Telltale, they talked a lot about their new engine, and then it's not really a new engine, it's an upgraded version. And I've played a lot of Telltale games. I've never actually come across really any of the issues that people claim to have.
Sure.
Had an issue in episode 2.
Oh.
There's a part where a scene is depicted. I don't want to spoil anything.
Sure.
A scene is depicted that has been depicted in everything involving Batman ever.
Gee, I wonder what that is.
And a female character, maybe her, in this entire depiction of the scene, the game took her face off, and all that was left were like big creepy eyeballs.
So was it like those Assassin's Creed Unity images from a few years ago, where it was just the eyes? And
It was just the eyes, yeah. Took a lot of the drama out of that depiction.
I imagine.
But then I think because the game had like glitched and like broke that, I got all the way through the scene and everything that you had to do in there, and then when it was loading like the next part, an error thing came up and I had to restart the episode.
That sucks.
I had to play through it again, and she had her face though, so that was nice.
I think that might have made BVS a little bit more interesting.
That would have been very interesting instead of Maggie from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It was just eyeballs. So yeah, that's out. I played that. I'll probably report back when the whole thing's done and,
Cool.
and all that. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to talk about that is more pertinent to everyone is I saw Magnificent Seven.
Oh. What'd you think?
It's good. It's entertaining.
So, okay, you're like, it's good. Is it, okay, it's fine. Or are you like...
No, it's a very entertaining movie.
Okay.
It is a story that we have seen told before very well, multiple times, and it's told well again,
Okay.
but offers nothing new.
Okay.
I mean, Magnificent Seven, the original film, was of course a remake of a Western remake of Seven Samurai,
Yeah.
and that story has also been redone in A Bug's Life. It was redone in many different forms. It had a TV show of Magnificent Seven that ran on CBS. We've seen this story told. Actually, watching it, it was the first time watching this new one that I realized how many elements of of this storyline Saving Private Ryan pulls from. That movie is very much influenced by this. But it was good. Denzel is very charismatic, very fun. Chris Pratt is a delight. He's awesome. I mean,
He looks like he's doing more of the, I don't want to say his shtick, but that kind of like, kind of charming but kind of dickish Chris Pratt, like...
It's very
Jurassic
much what he was
World.
brought in for.
Yeah.
He is not the lead of this movie. He is definitely just some salsa on the side of the main dish of chips of
snarkiness,
Denzel. The whole cast is good. It was nice seeing Ethan Hawke and Denzel back together. They have a couple of good scenes. It's good. I mean, it's entertaining. It's well made. It might be the most enjoyable Antoine Fuqua movie since Training Day. Like, It's the first, but like in a lot of ways that's not saying too much.
Sure.
But it's worth a watch. But like, honestly, if you are familiar with the story that this movie is going to cover, it does not do anything new.
So it's entertaining, but it says nothing new.
Yeah. The only interesting thing to come out of this movie from a conversational standpoint is a lot of people have been actually criticizing the movie for not being racist.
Interesting.
There's been a lot of talk about this going around in like the places online, the New Yorker, etc. Because you do have a Native American member of the Seven. You have Denzel plays the lead character, African American. There are Asians in this movie, and there are other characters in the towns that are these races, and it is never addressed. And that was a clear thing. Probably Antoine Fuqua saying, "I'm going to make a Western, and I'm not going to make a big deal of this. Everything's just going to be racial melting pot." But people have actually been kind of like saying there was more that could have been said. Having Denzel as the lead
that
in
could
that time
have
period.
given the movie something new to say.
Yeah, and they don't. And it's an interesting... honestly, I think that the argument could be made for it being interesting in either way.
Okay.
Because it is interesting to see all these different faces in a Western and have it mean nothing. It's actually kind of refreshing that that wasn't part of it.
Sure.
But you could also
in
see...
Westerns, you have that as sort of a
because
point.
this movie is just a fun time. There's not really a place for that message. But you could see the missed opportunity of maybe this movie escalating beyond just being fun if they had decided to go down something like that route. Like I think of the upcoming game Mafia 3 with the black lead protagonist, and you hear these stories about there are areas of the game. You play a black character in the early 70s or late 60s who there are parts of the city that if you go to, the police will be called to come get you.
Like if you're just walking down the street, like people will cross the street and call the cops on you.
That's very interesting. They didn't have to do that, but they did that, and so we're already talking about it.
Exactly.
This movie didn't do anything, and we won't be talking about it in a week. But it's fun. You should see it.
Cool.
What about you?
I have not been up to much. The only thing I have done is the thing that you did last week, and that was go to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, how was that?
You all right there?
Yeah, I was gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
You could have made some jokes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it.
No one's gonna get mad at you.
Nah,
they don't watch the show anyway.
How was Horror Nights?
It was good. I did all the houses but American Horror Story and Walking Dead.
Okay.
We ended up leaving early. We were just kind of like, okay, we're ready to leave. We could have gotten.
That's the benefit. I did the same thing. That's the benefit of living here. We can go back.
Living here, I did the frequent fear pass. But I mean, we had gotten through like 4 houses before sundown. Like, I mean, it's one of those things. If you know how to hit it right, you can get through most everything pretty quickly. I think my favorite might have been Halloween 2 or The Exorcist.
So The Exorcist is one of the ones that I didn't do. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Some couple reuse things I've noticed from last year, which you didn't go to last year, so that won't make a difference. I liked Texas Chainsaw. I wish it had... My 2 problems that I had with a couple of the houses is it was almost too dark.
Texas Chainsaw?
Texas Chainsaw and...
The Tomb one.
The Tomb of the Ancients.
Oh man, that one's dark.
I thought both of them were a little too dark.
It's darker than
I know
a
it's...
table.
Just waiting for you to address it. And I know it's, it's a haunted house, it's too dark, but like when they put that much time and energy into recreating, like for Texas Chainsaw, recreating these sets and from these classic movies and stuff, like you kind of want to see that a little bit more. But it was just kind of like you could tell it was there, but it was just a little too dark to really kind of appreciate like the level of care that went into rebuilding these things. And then same thing with Tomb of the Ancients, that was really dark for a lot of it. Like there was just a long...
Almost impossible to see.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I expect if you go back in like three weeks or so, it will be brighter.
Yeah.
They will find that that's just inefficient.
And then the 3D house I thought was fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
I always feel like I'm disappointed by the 3D houses, but I had hoped that this year it being, the Mascots House, they would have done something a little bit more, and it just didn't.
No.
It was fine.
It's okay. It's fine.
But there was nothing... Like, it was kind of weird, because usually, even at the beginning of the season, I'm always like, oh, man, like, this house was great, or this house was... Everything was okay to really good. Like, I didn't really come out of it even going, oh my god, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Krampus was cool. Like, it was done really well. I didn't see
I haven't
Krampus.
done that one yet.
Okay, you didn't go in it. But I felt it was a little light, kind of on the scares. And that was another thing. And it's usually typical, like, for usual years when you go multiple times. At the beginning of the season, I noticed, like, holes and stuff around. I'm like, oh, okay, there's someone who could have been there, who may have supposed to be there. Maybe they were short-staffed that night or someone called, whatever. And by the end of the season, like, it's really amped up. And so that's why I'm really curious to go back in a couple weeks and check it out.
Yeah. So I said last week Halloween 2 was probably my favorite house that I did so far. So the 3 that I haven't done. And I had a clear least favorite.
Okay.
Did you have one that stood out as not being very good to you?
I didn't think any of them were bad. Probably my least favorite was either the 3D one or Ghost Town or Ghost House, but I don't really.
I thought Ghost Town was trash.
But I don't really remember much of it. I think that's more telling than anything. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened in Ghost House. I remember it
in the Ghost Town house. You step into like a old western town, to go back to Magnificent Seven, and there's I guess they're ghosts of like cowboys and stuff, but it just was basically just cowboys just popping out with rifles.
Okay,
what's scary about this? It didn't look convincing enough. Sometimes that's the issue that if you've never been to Horror Nights, basically they're haunted houses that you walk through different themes. But sometimes when they try and do that, like, oh, we're going to transport you into a ghost town, an old western place, sometimes that's when they get kind of hurt by the fact that they're in a soundstage and you can constantly look up and breaks the illusion. Some houses it doesn't matter, but sometimes when they're trying to transport you into this thing, it just really does. There's nothing scary about a guy popping out with a rifle.
Last year, the year before, there was one called like Roanoke or something, and it was like the old. Like,
I think that was 2 years ago.
And that was similar to this, where it was bringing you back to this time period. And I know the first time I went through it, I was kind of like, okay, it's fine. But then again, later on in the season, it had improved. So that could happen with Ghost. I had totally forgotten what Ghost Town was even about until you said it. But so yeah, that's probably my least favorite.
That one, unimpressive. But we'll see how it develops. So neither of us have done Horror Story. Horror Story seems to be the clear most popular house.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got in there.
I don't know if it's the best house.
They let us in, I think, early. Like, I mean, a good half hour early, because we got there pretty early and they got us in. We were in there by 6 o'clock, and it's not really supposed to start till 6:30, but houses were open, so we hit a bunch of stuff. And American Horror Story was already at 60 minutes, and then I think around 10:30 it was probably at like 75. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe that'll be the standout house.
Did you do Walking Dead?
Yeah.
How was that?
It's a Walking Dead house.
Okay. That's kind of what
I feel. I mean, I didn't go last year, but I had gone every year that they've been doing Walking Dead houses since then. And for the most part, they've typically done the kind of a house of the season that had just ended. This is not that.
Oh, okay.
This is very much we're gonna kind of take you through the first few seasons again.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but also in that way, it felt like not only do I rarely find these all that great, I feel like I've already done it.
Yeah. I think the only really cool Walking Dead effect that I can remember is I think it was last year, and you were walking through kind of like this field area, like this creek area, and there was like this dead horse, and this zombie was like over it eating it, and I was already like, oh, it's Walking Dead. Like, how is that scary? And then the horse like moves its head and kicks, and I realized the guy eating it was like controlling this puppet, and I'm like, okay, like that's pretty cool. That was kind of a cool cool effect. But yeah, the Walking Dead houses have never been. So like I'll do them later, but like I'll usually go early with like my family and stuff, and none of them watch The Walking Dead, so that's the thing they care the least about. So it's always just kind of like, yeah, I'll get to it when I go back.
Right. All right, so that's Horror Nights. Anything else you've been up to? All right, so Horror Nights, Magnificent Seven, and Telltale Batman. Check those things out.
Yeah.
If you can go to Horror Nights, if you can make it down here or make it over to Hollywood or Singapore or whatever.
Check it out. It's fun. Cool time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's different this year.
I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know. There's something cool over in Hollywood, but I forget what it was.
Go Google
Let us
it.
know. Tweet at us. I'm at Stonks.
I'm at Rich Belson. The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. We're also right here on youtube.com/overabeer. But this weekend, the weekend you guys are watching this, or upcoming weekend, we will be at the Spooky Empire convention. Well, I will. I don't think Nick's
Probably not.
going. But I'll be over there representing Over Beer, hanging out. Come find me. I'll have our new buttons and new bottle openers, giving those out. So if you come up, say hi, give you some stuff, give you some swag for free.
You're gonna be giving I'm gonna be going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Maybe I'll put it in little children's gift bags.
You should do that. Give them some bottle
openers.
Here you go, little kid.
For your bottle.
Mm-hmm. This is for your mom and dad for when they can't stand you when they get home.
Yes.
So check us out there. That's an Orlando horror convention if you guys aren't familiar. If you're in the Orlando area and you're like, hey, I want to check out a horror thing, there you go. You can also check out the Overbeer podcast on Fridays at soundcloud.com/overbeer and on iTunes. It's a much more loose, off-topic, random bullshit thing that Nick and I and Dana do. But that will wrap things up for today. So until next time, drink up.
Hey!